everybody. Welcome to another episode on Alto Call MAFS. And I am excited for this episode because today marks the debut of the rewatch of an old math season. First time ever been done. For those who are new here, it is a rewatch until we get the announcement for season 19. And going to cover the entire season with me, and it is season 9, which we've announced earlier, is Jen. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm finally excited. I was trying to put myself like, what was I doing in 2019 that I missed this the first time? So it was fun to just kind of put myself back, and you have to think, okay, this is 2019.
Mhm.
So it's like going back in time. So no, I'm excited to watch this for the first time.
Yeah, I was watching it, and it's crazy how 2019 doesn't seem like a long time ago. It's like, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Feels like
And
forever.
it's crazy how things change because my husband walked in and was like, "Is this Married at First Sight? How long ago was this?" And I'm like, "It's 2019." He was like, "Why does it look like forever ago?" I was like, "I don't know. Technology is moving so fast." So, yeah, I before we get into that, again, as usual, housekeeping, just to remind you guys that if you'd like to listen to the episode ad free, you can. There's a tier for that on the Patreon. And also, if you'd like to have bonus episodes where I talk about things other than maths, coming up soon will be a Sister Wives episode with Aid. So check us out over there. It is patreon.com/autocallmafs. And before we get into the episode, I do have some updates from some former maths participants. There's been a little bit of activity. There hasn't been much in a while. So I'm excited for that. So first is Paige from the Atlanta season with the infamous Chris is pregnant with baby number 2. Yay, Paige.
Yay!
Yeah, like listen, this is the person who all the maps community wishes all the good things for.
Yes.
And it's so good to see her thriving and happy and fulfilling her wish, to have kids. So congratulations, Paige. The last time I did an update, I think I announced that Jamie was off social media and she was saying that she had an announcement on the 5th of May that she was going to announce. And the announcement came and it was basically that they are renovating their place. And yeah, that's what it was. But she's going to let the fans decide. She's starting from a fireplace, and I guess she gave options for people to decide on what she's going to do. And wait, where do you stand on the whole Jamie? Are you a fan? Are you indifferent? Are you
I am absolutely not a fan, and I am absolutely not indifferent. I did watch that first season, and I was pro Doug all the way. Like that guy was a saint and put up with a lot. I don't know. I think that I want to give her the benefit of the doubt because she had like a tough upbringing and everything,
Yeah.
but just everything she does is so cringy. It's just like, why? Just be happy. You have the husband, you have the kids. Like, just be you, be happy doing what you're doing. And there's always a step too far for
Yeah.
me.
Like I said, I'm trying to give her grace that I understand that what she does is not for me, but there are people who appreciate, what she does, and we all have, different things. I think at some point during the pod, I think I had said that I didn't think the relationship was going to last. And I'm eating my words. They're still together. And I had it when they had their podcast, and I think there was a conversation about her. I think she was jealous about a babysitter or accusing him of something. And I was like, how long can someone keep up
Right.
with security? Not to say we don't all have insecurities, but I think it was really extreme at that point, and I was like, oh, I don't think this is gonna last. But what do I know?
Doug is a saint. That he's just like, hey, I made my commitment to this woman and my kids, and I'm going to stick through it. And maybe there's a part. I don't think there's a part that we're not seeing. So I think what we see is what
Ah,
it is.
that's
So
funny. That's funny. Okay, Rachel from Houston still going strong with her boyfriend. This is Rachel
whoop,
and the
whoop.
Rachel and Jose fame, and they have matching heart tattoos together. At least it's not a name. I think I was watching, I don't remember what show I watched, and someone said, once you get your partner's name tattooed on you, it's a death knell. I guess on reality TV. I don't know how true it is, but that was funny. From the most recent season, David and Madison and Camille and Tom had a double date. And I think I saw them at another activity, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, Alan and his girlfriend had a housewarming. I'm assuming they moved in together, but I'm not sure. But that was what was said. And of course, everyone, most of them were there. Of course, not David and Madison, but yeah. So the group is still hanging out together. I've mentioned before that Emily from the Denver season moved to Chicago, and I think she's in between jobs in the meantime, but I think so far what she's doing, she's selling her looks, like the link to buy or link
Mm.
LTK. I don't know. A lot of them are doing that. Like even Michelle from recent season is doing that. But she's doing looks from her time on the show. So every now and then she'll post a look that she wore and she'll have it with Brennan
Oh,
on there. And I'm like,
oh,
okay, well, she really doesn't care. But that's funny.
awkward. Okay, I'm waiting for
Um
Brennan to put a lawsuit on her and be like, take me out of here. Stop talking about me."
I think you'd rather just act like she doesn't exist.
It's probably a good plan.
And that was it. We have Samantha from the very early seasons, and I was trying to remember which one she was from. I think it was Atlanta. I think she was the one that was mean to Neil over there. But anyways, she just announced that she's had a divorce. It doesn't look like it's an amicable divorce. She's saying like, I got rid of, I don't know, his weight, maybe like 180 pounds of stress, and speak my truth and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know where to go, but anything that moves someone in the direction of happiness, I am there for that. So good for her. And finally, Brett from the Houston season, who, funny enough, I think it was you, Jen, where I said like, oh, I hadn't heard anything from her, and maybe she blocked me. I'm not blocked, yay! But
Yeah.
she hard launched a new man, and it looks like
Yay!
they've been together for about 2 years because she was like, thanks for having me in your life the last 2 years. And yeah, he's cute. He's
Ooh,
a fine, tall black man.
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, "Ooh, what's his race?"
Oh, what? Well,
Oh, something about Brett was giving me like, yeah, that's maybe Ryan was not the guy for her, but all right, I was right.
yes, indeed. Yeah. So, yeah, good for her. Like, I don't know. There's a certain kind of happiness I get when people thrive after the show, after they had a hard time. I mean, I don't think it's unique to me. I think everybody just wants to see everyone happy. So,
Yeah,
when I see them just thriving and finding, like, what they did ask for, it's like, yay, happy for you. And that's what the experts, that's their contingent plan. Like, when it doesn't work out, they're like, what we hope for everyone is that you learn from this and you grow, and your person is out there waiting for you. So
yeah. Especially, and I think because, especially if somebody's been done so dirty and they come off or they get a good edit and they seem to us to be really good people, you really just want good things to happen to them. So
yeah.
Rachel is one that I follow, and she's always really responsive. I mean, I don't know how many followers she has, but the couple of times I've
Mm,
commented or I've sent her a DM, she's really sweet and responded to me personally. So I think you just want good things for her, and she looks happy with her man, and
yeah.
I just love her so much. And I think I was on the Brett train really early, but I think she had her social set down for a long time. So I'll have to
Mm.
go back and see if she let me in. But I'm
Listen,
glad you
I'm
knew.
here for everyone trying to protect their peace. Like, if I
Hmm.
always assume like when people shut down from social media, like it's for their protecting their mental health. So I'm like here for it. Because the other person I haven't heard from too is Michaela from
Yes.
Houston. She was active for a little bit, and then hear from her again, and hopefully she's doing well as well. So you know. Okay, so that is all the updates I have, and we are diving into season 9, North Carolina season. Um, you haven't watched it before, right?
No, this is my first time, and I've been really good because normally I'm somebody that doesn't like surprises and I want to know what's going to happen at the end. But I've been really diligent about not going onto their current socials and seeing what's happening now and not going too far ahead of the episode. So everything is super fresh. I was so surprised to see Dr. Viviana for the first time. I'm like, oh, it's her first season. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, no, it's all new and fresh and exciting, a little dated
So,
for
just to
2019. Okay.
clarify, you have no idea, even with the current situations of some of the couples.
I have inklings, like, because Beth is not quiet. So I have an idea of what's currently happening. I think
Okay.
you mentioned something about Deanna and Greg in the
Mm-hmm.
lap episode we did. So I have some inklings, but I haven't deep dive into anybody.
Oh, that's interesting. Because I was gonna ask, like, how do I go through the season with you without saying anything? Is it a spoiler when it's 5 years later? Like, I don't. How do we go about this? And I don't know. For you guys that are listening, if it's your first time, like, let me know what your preference would be. Like, because I feel like I'm watching certain things and then knowing what happened, I might slip up and be like, oh, and that's why XYZ. Like, you personally, what would you prefer? Like, still keep it a surprise and act like I don't know anything? Or,
No, I think it's worth the conversation, and you've been invested in it a little bit longer than me, so I think it's good to hear your perspective about, oh, well then this is why this happens, because I think having the ability to go back and see things retroactively, I think is
mhm.
really nice to get your insight on it. So no, you're not spoiling anything for me.
Okay. All right. All right. So we'll go in. I'm excited to do this because it's crazy how your memory is different from actuality. And I'll just point out certain things that I was like, "Oh, I didn't remember this," or "Oh, I knew this when this happened." So we'll see. So like you mentioned, this was Dr. Viviana's first season, and that's one of the things that I didn't remember. I didn't
Mm,
realize that this was her first season. And I think I was just struck by Dr. Viviana was really not was, she's still alive, but she's so pretty.
yes.
Like
She's
she
very fashionable. She's very fashion
yeah.
forward, and she's very much with the bright colors and the big earrings, and um she leads with all of that. So I think that was refreshing, and something I think she may have made Dr. Pepper step her game up after being on for a while. So yeah, it was fun to see her. And then there was a shot when they introduced her where they looked into the women who were sitting in the audience, and some of these women were just, again, this was 6 years ago, so they weren't thinking about the social media of it all back then, I don't think. But some of these women in the audience, I'm like, are do you know you're on TV? What are you wearing? You look just in a t-shirt. You look like you're just going to Target after this. What's happening?
And for those who don't know, Dr. Viviana does have a fashion account where she posts like her looks and things. I don't know if she's still updating it, but I remember that she has like a separate account where she talks about her looks and her earrings and all that stuff on there. But yes, that is something that stood out to me also was like I miss back when we had the auditorium auditions. I
Hmm.
feel like when we switched to the virtual, they've never fully come back to that where we now see like the individuals and when they're interviewing them. But I loved when they, got them all together, wrangled them like around like people at a ranch and just got them in a room together and everyone, But I think they also don't want people to meet each other ahead of time. But I don't think it matters because now the women meet each other anyways.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So it's just fun to see them in the crowd and know like, oh, this person is going to be chosen and that person is going to be chosen. And I miss that. And this is also the time where it was just four couples. And I don't remember if this was the first time it was four couples, even though I don't think so, but I can't remember because it started out with three and then they moved up to four and then now we're at five.
Okay.
And
Because
it would be
people
so
because people drop off and they're like, "Ooh, we need to stack the deck."
yeah, and it would be interesting to see if, with again, not knowing what on earth Peacock has for us, but if they copy Australia where they have like I think it's 12 couples or 11. So who knows what they're gonna do? And I do want to add though, Peacock had their NBC had their upfronts, and then they listed all the unscripted shows, and MAFS was on there. I did not see MAFS After Party. I
Mm.
don't know if that counts or if that's anything, but I'm just again I'm worried, guys. I don't know. I would like us to still keep After Party, but again, I don't know
Yeah, I
what's
think
gonna
I think
happen.
Ke- I think Keisha's doing a good job. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it'll be like a behind a paywall kind of thing.
Well, I mean, Maps is going to be behind the paywall
No,
on
that's true.
Peacock.
That's true. That's true.
So we'll see. Again, it's not knowing if the format is going to change completely. We have no idea. So everything is just a guessing game. So who knows? Okay, I'm gonna go through this by couple, and we're gonna start with Deanna and Greg. And Deanna is 30 years old and Greg is 32 years old. Deanna has not dated in 10 years. This is where, again, going back, if y'all have been listening long enough, you know that I have all these rules like don't put anyone who's never had a boyfriend, don't put anyone who just had a breakup, don't put anyone. And I feel like I had that thought like if someone hasn't dated in 10 years, it's unfair to put them to practice. I just feel like this is not the avenue for someone to practice. It's not therapy. So
Yeah.
try and get people as prepared as you can, but then on the flip side, we're human beings, we're never prepared, we just have issues. So I feel like in this case though, I feel like I'm probably wrong. Like it's okay if she hasn't dated in 10 years, she can be on this show, but what is your stance on a situation like this?
It felt different to me, and I think maybe that's the thing about who that is and why you're not dating for so long. And I think about her Emily in Denver, and clearly the minute Emily opened her mouth, we're like, oh no, you're the problem. But I think Deanna really kind of focused on herself. I think that was like, I'm getting my degrees and I'm traveling and I'm doing all of this stuff. I'm buying a home. Like I think she was really preparing herself for her future. So I don't know. To me that doesn't seem to be, and it didn't seem to be an issue with this particular person. I don't think across it's something you can paint a broad stroke brush across the board.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an issue. But for her, she seemed to have a really strong support system. She seemed to have her stuff together. She wasn't doing this because she's trying to fill some hole in her life. And I don't know, her approach to it, and she's 30. So I don't know, her approach to it seemed really different than anybody else. I know that Greg had a real problem with it the first time he heard it, but I feel like having seen the whole of her, which he didn't get to when they first met, I don't know, as an audience member, it felt okay for me, for her.
So if I had to compare her and I can't remember how long it'd been for Michelle because I think Michelle also hadn't dated for was it 7 years or
Yeah,
something
someone.
like that. What is the difference that you see between Deanna and Michelle?
And I don't have anything constructive to offer other than like I immediately like Deanna. There's something about her spirit and her positivity and the people that she had around her where it just felt intentional, whereas Michelle felt like she was ticking off a list, if that makes sense, where like,
Hmm.
I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, now I get a husband. Whereas Deanna was truly building a life for herself. And to me, it felt like Michelle had a checklist. I don't know. What did you
Okay.
think? What
No, I
differences?
think that's fair. I don't honestly I hadn't thought about it. I'm thinking about these things because of your answers. So, but I think at the end of the day, this is where human interactions are tricky. Likability goes a long way. It just your aura goes a long way. Sometimes you don't have anything tangible on there and you just go by what you see and you'll vibe with the person and that's it. And I think that's what it just comes down to was maybe we're getting good vibes with Deanna and
Yeah,
and I think when she explained herself, she didn't say it in a negative way and she didn't say it like she was ashamed of it. She said it like,
right.
listen, I did this. I looked up and it was 10 years. So,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like either you like it or not, but don't be scared of it. So that's the difference between both. She said that, part of the reason why she hadn't dated was her boyfriend had hurt her. She was dating her high school boyfriend. I mean, she quickly said something happened that didn't sound like it was his fault. I don't know what it is that
Mm,
happened. And then he did something, and then she was like, he broke her heart, and she was like, I would never let that happen to me again. And she put up walls, and she's like, she's not going to do that anymore. What she's looking for is someone who's into church and at least passionate about something. And we get to see Greg. And I think what I liked about this episode, we didn't watch the matchmaking, was everything was moving. We were moving along smoothly. There was no
yes.
long anything. It was just like, this is Deanna. Deanna is with Greg. This is it. And we keep everything, we kept moving. And this episode was 2 hours, but I think I checked the next episode is we're back down to an hour. So they should have kept this going. Premiere can be
Yeah.
2 hours and everything else can be contained in 1 hour.
Yeah, and we didn't go through like we weren't with the families, like what? You know what I mean? The stuff that seems to be a waste of time that they do
Mhm.
now. Like we sped through that.
Yeah.
Although, and I don't know how you felt about it, I made several notes throughout the episode, was that there were so many unanswered questions. Like there was something big that somebody would say and nobody would address it. So we're to your point about Deanna and this boyfriend, it was like, oh yeah, something happened and I thought he was the one and now not. And it's like, well, what happened? And, when we talk about Greg, he was like, yeah, I was engaged and it was toxic, but now I'm ready to get married again. It's like, well, what happened? And so that's kind of how I felt about everybody. Everybody had these, what I felt were these not red flags, but there were things that we should probably dig into before we match you with somebody else. So yeah, I mean, maybe it'll come later, but I was like, we need to dig into that. What happened?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I think that they do dig into it. This is just like
Okay,
all
good.
intro. Like
Okay, good.
everybody hear this, you just met and this is what happened. So, like Jen said, Greg was engaged and he said like it was just toxic, it didn't happen, so he's been single for 2 years. He also says that religion is very important to him. So on that part they are aligned. So we move on. Everyone's telling their family that they're getting married in 2 weeks. Greg's mom is on the phone and he's telling her, and then she's like, what if she's 35? Greg is like, then she's 35. Then that's okay. She's like, yeah, but you want kids. You don't want someone who can't have kids. Greg is like, Mama, what are you? What? What is happening and what is going on? And I just liked his answer. Like you could tell that he was a green flag when she's like she's 35 because in recent times everything seems to be a red flag for
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
And you could see it happening like, I'm worried. I don't want someone that's old even though 35 is not
Mhm.
old. So it
Mhm.
was just funny the way he handled, but you could tell like he knows his mom and he's just like, this woman again.
And then she said something about his skin, and she was like, "He's like, why are we going here?"
He's like, what are we
Stop.
doing? Yeah, you should take care of your make sure your skin is ready.
Yes.
And all that. So, something I didn't remember from this, my memory of Deanna was that she was shut off and kind of like a straight arrow. But watching this, she was so excitable. And I did not remember Deanna being so excitable. She was just like, I'm getting married. I love my dress. Like, you this. Everything's fine. She was just really animated.
Mhm.
And I'm glad I'm doing the rewatch, for that. Because I mean, I knew she was fun, but in my head, my memory was just like she was just like a straight laced. And I
Oh
was wrong.
no, I would be sad if that changed. She was really one of the ones I was drawn to, and I think if anybody is going to get me through this season, it's going to be her because she's just energetic and light and optimistic.
Yeah.
And even when they met, and I'm sorry if I'm getting ahead of you, but when they met and he was like, "Oh, she's easy to talk to." Yeah, she's very easy to talk to. She's fun, and even at the altar, she was cracking jokes. Like, there's just something about her that she's just somebody. She seems to be somebody that's really easy to get along with, and would make you
Yeah.
feel comfortable right away. So I love her. I'm already rooting for her. If I have a fave this season after one episode, it's already her. But I'm a terrible judge of character, so we'll see how this goes.
So yep, like you said, they walk down the aisle. They both find each other attractive. Like I'm always holding my breath when they walk
You're
down the
right.
aisle. So once they
Mhm.
like it, it's great. The vows are great. They do kiss, but it's just like a really light peck. But he did ask, "May I?" And you guys know why I'm mentioning this. I'm always like, you gotta kiss at the altar. I don't understand this kiss on the cheek. No, not yet. You're a stranger. You knew that before you signed up. Even if it's like a light peck, like what they did, do something because if it does work out, you don't want a wedding where you were like, oh no, I
Yeah.
don't want this on here. So they do their after wedding chat, and then she shares that she was in a relationship for 10 years. And then Greg is like, say what? You know that emoji with the eyes where the eyes bulge out? He's like, huh? And then this was back in the day when MAFS thought that the soundtrack was so important and it would be like the smallest thing and they'll have like dun 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 in the background and it's like, okay. It's not that deep. So I think Deanna's just like, fix your face. Like, don't
Right.
look like it's so
Exactly.
strange like this. And she lays out like, listen, I traveled around, I got 2 master's degrees, I was doing this, working on my career, I've grown and all that stuff. But Greg was like, huh. But then he's like, he's worried about that, but the way that she explained it, it sounds like she's ready. I do like the fact that she's adventurous, and that's something that I was looking for. And I think this is, going to be good. Like, it's starting out well. So it was a good after chat too. I did not like her wedding dress, I will say that.
I didn't either. Thank you. I love her so much. I don't want to say anything negative about her, but like even the relationship that she has with her mother and her sister and her
Yeah.
dad, like their whole family was so cute. I just loved them. But yeah, the dresses, I was all okay. But again, I just chalked this up to 2019, and fashion was different 6 years ago when it comes to wedding dresses. But no, they seem to be good. I like the conversation that they had about math, since the math learning center was kind of what he does for a living, and so
Mhm.
they bantered about that. No, they just felt really comfortable right away. And
Yeah.
I get caught up in like, do I need everybody to be completely attracted right away? It seems like they're attracted, but not overly so. And so I think to me that feels like, okay, this is longevity. We're building on something here versus having some giant spark and having it fizzle out right away. So I kind of like how they started.
Yeah. So I love rewatches again because you see things, and I don't know how you felt about this, but something I noticed compared to, I think I'll call it, we say new era Survivor, I'll say new era MAFS, is Deanna's excitement, Greg's excitement reminded me or pointed out or highlighted for me that we seem to lack this excitement in new era MAFS now.
Mm,
More of what we get is fear, looking at the negatives, even though they signed up for it willingly, and looking for what could be wrong, and then making a mountain out of a molehill. And this was refreshing to watch and to see, like, people just really being excited about the decision that, they made, and like, oh my God, I'm getting married, I'm going to do this or whatever. And I think that's what's missing, is the pessimism is now really high. And then, like, 10-year relationship, we compare that to Michelle. Oh, I live with the parents. Again, not like I would consider it like a red flag, but it's how they always react, where it doesn't have to be. Give it time
yeah.
to see what it is. And then Greg's reaction, like, you know what, she shared this. Maybe this is a red flag, but this counteracts this. So I'll give it time. It looks like it'll be okay. We don't have that anymore. New
Yeah.
era maps is 10-year relationship. That's worrisome. And we're going to hear about it for the rest of the
Exactly.
537 episodes for the rest of, the season.
Yeah. And I think too, and I don't know if they're Greg to me is a different kind of guy than we've had for a while, where he kept talking about, I'm gonna thug it out, I'm gonna thug it out, and then he cried.
But
So I
he
think
cried
to
because his guys prayed for him. That was cute.
yes. But I think when they were trying on the tuxes, he was like, I'm gonna thug it out, I'm gonna thug it out. And then the day of the wedding comes and he did not thug it out. But I think too that that shows some seriousness and it shows some intention. And maybe this is the social media aspect of it, where
Mm,
it feels like this group, the 2019 group, that they're not looking to make a splash. Like they're not looking to make that clip. They're not looking to be that memorable moment. Like they're genuinely, at least for what I've seen so far, they're genuinely like, I want to find my person and I'm trusting this process with I really get it from these two.
yeah. I mean, I miss that. And I put
Yeah.
the, not only them, honestly, just in general. Like, I think everyone in general was excited,
Hmm.
to do this, not like apprehension. I mean, at the end we get apprehension, but I think that's normal. But I think generally overall, for most of it, that's what it was. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Deanna and Greg play out. I'm talking like I'm on an after party where I know what happens, but then I'm like, I'm looking forward to see what happened. But something I will say you should look forward to is Deanna is going to give us the looks when it comes to hair.
Oh,
And
good.
she and Brianna were pretty good about that, because Brianna gave us hair looks also during her season from the Atlanta season. So
Uh-huh.
look forward
And
to
I know
that.
we're going couple by couple, but one of the things that I really liked about Deanna too was when she was with the other girls and there was the talk about sex, and she was like, "I'm not doing that." And I'm like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying, I'm sticking my ground. I'm paying attention to my boundaries." And so I think if she can maintain that with Greg, that I think they've got a pretty good shot.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm also like pro. If you want to have sex with your husband, go ahead with it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
for
I'm,
sure.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, so we move on to Amber and Matt. Amber is 27. She teaches eighth grade English. She is an identical twin. And Matt is 31, and he's a basketball player and has been playing in Europe and Central America. Amber shares that when she was 7, her mom fell in love with a woman and left the family. And I just feel like there's more to it, but the way she
Thank
said
you. Thank you. So many questions. Just like, oh yeah, she left.
it,
Oh, and look, she's here now. And
she's
oh
here
wait,
exactly.
she doesn't come to major events, but she's here for this TV thing. Like I had so many questions. And she kept asking the dad about it, marriage advice. It's like, his wife left him. Why are you asking your dad for advice? This whole thing was a I was very confused for everybody in this.
I mean, her dad was like, I mean, I dated your mom for over a year and it didn't mean anything, so don't ask me. um, Matt's parents just got a divorce after 30 years of marriage. Many, many questions when it comes to Matt.
So
And I
many.
will tell you now that you're not going to get the answer.
Oh,
So
really? Oh no.
we don't know whether they really did get a divorce. If they didn't, Matt said he's not going to know whether he's going to tell his family. He said he's thinking about his life after basketball, like, what he's going to do. And Dr. Pepper chimes in and she's saying a lot of stuff and then what cracked me up was that she said they are different sized. Coming from Dr. Pepper, who's like 4'9", and Matt is like a basketball player. He's like 6'8". He's so tall, and Amber
He's
is
so
so
tall.
short. So just the
Yes.
fact she didn't say there's a height difference or they're different heights. She goes, they are different size, like it was a disability. So that's what made me like, okay, Dr. Pepper. And then she says, if Matt can plant roots in Charlotte, I think these two can make it together. Give these people a chance.
Mm,
Why would you match someone who has no roots, who has no home,
no
who's
roots.
all over the place? Let him
Mm-mm.
settle. And I say this, MAFS is not where you come to work out the kinks in your life. Like, figure some things out before you go match. So I'm just like, the if is a very loud if for me.
Ugh. Thank you. And that was one of the things I wrote in my notes. Like, if he can plan, like, how did he get it this far? And also everything with his family. Like, I get it. Like, your parents divorced and his word was disappointed, which I get if they were married for that long. But then he said he hasn't spoken to his dad for 2 years. And then
Mhm.
nobody knows he's getting married. He's got siblings. Like, why are the siblings also xed out of the divorce from your parents? Like, there's so many red flags with this guy. Like, I don't know how he made it on this show other than the
Oh.
fact that he's tall. I don't
I
like it.
mean, red flags get you on the show. Like, we have
Oh,
terrible MAFS men.
oh.
And the thing is, the fact that he already has these red flags doesn't help when Amber's twin sister tells us, like, yeah, I'm terrified because Amber is too nice. That she had a boyfriend, that she took care of everything, and this man took everything that she had. So to pair someone who already has a sense of abandonment because of what happened
Mhm.
with her mom, who already, worries too much about other people. And I think she mentioned that she's insecure
Yep.
and had a boyfriend that has screwed her over and took everything. And to pair her with someone who is a if and who is a red flag, I don't, due diligence was not done.
No, I'm so nervous about the two of them. Like, and luckily she's attracted to him. I don't know if it's mutual, but everything about this feels terrible. And I don't know how anybody was like, oh, she's super insecure. There's all this stuff with her family. Let's pair her with the tallest guy we can find that has all other kind of insecurities. Like, I don't know. And I think Aid was one of the one that was talking about, let's not put people together to bond over their trauma. Like, this is what it feels like. Like, hey, there's all these terrible things that have happened to both of us. Let's be friends. We'll be the perfect pair. It's like, no, you're not a pair because you're there to solve each other's past issues. I don't know. I don't like, ooh, these two make me nervous.
But this is where, sometimes watching the matchmaking special helps because it's like, how much of this did he tell the experts? Like, someone was like, oh, I'm going through this. I'm not speaking to any of my family. And like, you know what? We're going to match you. So we don't know, what that's about. So, Yeah, he says that his home situation is awful. He hasn't spoken to his dad in 2 years, but he's leaning towards not telling them that he's getting married. They have no idea about the process, but he does have a good group of friends who are going to stand in for him. Um, I didn't recall that her mom made it to the wedding, but like
Mm.
you said, she was there.
Mhm.
And did you think her dress was similar to Deanna's, just like the color was different?
Yeah, again, and that got chalked up to 2019 fashion. A lot of their dresses were real. I don't know. They were just, yeah, they were all kind of. I don't know how to describe it. I
Just
wasn't
okay.
like,
They didn't
yeah, they
stand
were
out.
just
They were
okay.
just
No,
okay
no, and they weren't
on there.
unique, and they didn't like flatter anybody's body one way or the other. Like
Yeah.
they didn't fit, with the exception of Beth's. Like their dresses didn't fit their personalities in some ways.
Yeah, you're right. Because even with Beth, we're going to talk about it. I think it could have been fitted better. It felt like it was
Oh
drooping
yeah,
and they didn't put it
yep,
on there. So,
yep.
yeah. This was the era of MAFS where there was a lot of paid sponsorships going. So at some point, Amber is pretending to sleep in her room and they jump on her, it's your wedding day. And she's like, oh, I'm awake now. And then they go over there and she's like, oh my God, my wedding is going to be at the Alexander Homestead. I'm not kidding, guys. That's exactly what she says. And that is the name of the venue where they're having all the weddings. And I think I Googled, and there's like an old article about the Alexander Homestead and the photographers and all that being excited to be included in the show on there. So they walk down the aisle, they both like each other, and there's again, like I said, excitement. But Amber is one of those people where it didn't matter who she was going to be paired with. That girl is just looking to be loved and to feel
Yeah,
like she's a part of a family, that she was okay with whoever it was. But the fact that it was like a tall basketball player and she thought that he was so cute, and she was happy. And then before the officiant could even get there, she's like, "Can we share a kiss now?" Like, so Hakuchi was talking. She was attracted to this man. Couldn't even help herself. And then, they share a kiss and then they have their after chat. I think in the confessional, Matt is like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I'm someone's husband. I'm like, not the many months that you signed up, filled
right,
out the forms,
all
did the
right.
interviews, had the home visits, but
Trying on
while they're still
tuxedos. Yeah, what?
no, just now after the fact. And while he's still talking, Amber's just looking at his lips and was like, "Can you kiss me again?" And then she looks around. You can see her look at the producers like, "Is that okay to say? Because I can't help it." And then they do, and they do their selfie cam. And I think Matt was like, "I don't mind having sex tonight, but it's up to her." And I'm like, "Yeah, Amber she's DTF. You lucked out on that." So
This,
so
yeah,
that
and
was
this
it.
was the least insecure I had seen her the entire episode. Like I was really
Yeah.
worried about how they would interact,
Hmm.
and that she woke up, and to your point, maybe it was her pants talking, but yeah, she was a completely different person with him than she was even just moments before talking to her dad, because she was like, I don't think I can do this. And I don't know, I just, and again, terrible judge of character, but I do not like Matt. There's something about him that just drives me, it just it just prickles something on the back of my neck. And like when he went
Hmm.
down the aisle, like he didn't introduce himself to her family at all, which is a big red flag for me because Greg did such a great job doing that. And he even, I mean, I don't know, how did the twin thing never come up? I
Yeah.
think her friend, was it Amanda, one of the bridesmaids, the one that runs up to him and it says, "Oh, hi, what's your name?" And he says, "Matt." And then everything's like, "Oh, Matt, Matt, Matt." That girl's a G, because she kept going, "I don't see anybody over there that looks like they could be his parents."
Yeah.
I was, so I was like, okay, you go, nosy friend. You're looking out. You're looking out. I appreciate you, because I would have so many questions too.
Looking out for the right things.
Exactly.
So, yeah, gonna keep my mind. I am still amazed that you were able to stay in a hole and not know what happened with most of the cast. Like, that's impressive.
And I asked my husband that, because we were 2 years in our relationship at that point. So I was like, what were we doing in 2019 that this totally flew over my head? Because now that he's with me, he watches maps, and he's
Mm.
like, I don't know, I don't really know. Hmm.
Did you watch the DC season?
I watched the beginning of it. I think when Taylor and Brandon fell apart, I fell off, but I started at the beginning.
Taylor and who?
Was it Brandon?
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. When they fell off, I stopped.
Okay, that was the season after. So I'm just
Okay.
wondering, maybe you took like a break and all that. Yeah, but fun fact to Taylor, I have this little thing that I do. I'm deviating, guys, but like sometimes when the Maps people sell stuff, I try to patronize or just get stuff with their codes or something like that. I don't know. Um, I used Taylor's brow person
Oh.
to when I got the microblading thing, like she had it up and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll just try it." And it was right by me, so I just went over there and yeah,
And
I used that
how to
person.
God.
It was
Oh, so
good.
it was good. Okay. I
Yeah,
wasn't
I'm
sure where you were
super.
going with this.
No, 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 no. I'm just saying. I just you said Taylor and Brandon, and I was just like, oh, I didn't. She just flashed in my memory, and then the other connection with Taylor was like I was watching the season, and I saw a former coworker on there as in Taylor's family, and I texted her like, "Did I see you on TV?" So, and she's like, "Yep," and I was like, "Are they still together?" And she's like, "You have to watch and find out." I was like, "Ugh." So that's my connection to Taylor, which is in the DC season, and I don't. Was I leaving? I wasn't living in DC, I think, by the time that that was airing, actually. Funny enough, I ended up in DC, but it's just a full circle. So I deviate, but just thought about that when you said Taylor. Because honestly, I was like, who's Taylor? But look at the connections that I have with Taylor. And I'd already blanked out on that. So
Well,
yeah. Okay.
the very first season, Vaughn,
Hmm.
I worked at the same company he worked at. And so I was looking him up on our which I don't work there anymore, so it's fine. But I was looking him up on the database, our internal staff database. I'm like, oh yeah, there's Vaughn. Okay, cool, cool, cool.
But
But
were you in Texas then or still Jersey you were?
I was in Texas, yeah.
Okay. It's so funny because Vaughn was in Jersey, and at the time in my mind, it was just North Jersey. It was later on I figured out it was South Jersey, which I lived in South Jersey for a while, and that commute from there to New York is not easy. So that was crazy.
No, yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
That
So,
whole season was crazy.
all right, and we're back. we're we're back to Elizabeth and Jamie.
Oh,
Elizabeth is
goodness.
29 and Jamie is 35. Elizabeth and Jamie, you know about, right?
When do we stop calling her Elizabeth and start calling her
Oh,
Beth?
sorry,
I know
Beth.
her as No, no.
Beth.
This is everybody was calling her Elizabeth. I'm like, what? When do we call her Beth? I know her as Beth because I've seen her on like reunion
Specials.
episodes.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And so I know her as being the kooky, quirky person, and I
Hmm.
know that some stuff happens, but I don't
Hmm.
know the details of it. And I think I she came across my FYP page on TikTok, so I'm aware that some stuff is still going down, but I don't have the full story.
Wow, so impressive. Okay. I'm so shocked. Okay. So Beth and Jamie, Beth says she's an account executive for her dad's company, which is just a fancy way of saying like I just show up and my daddy gives me a paycheck. And
Exactly.
she says that she's a daddy's girl and quite frankly, she's hilarious. And she's single. She's been single for years because she can be overwhelming. I mean, self-awareness is the first step.
Right?
And she just wants a husband that's going to accept her for who she is. Jamie is 35. He's in financial tech or something like that. And he was labeled like Mr. Picky. And he said he wants someone that is strong willed, that is ambitious. And then he just goes on and they do like this montage thing of talking. But I'm already like, you said ambitious, and then you paired him up with someone who works for her daddy. And yeah, okay. Because I mean, even till date, I still don't think she's had a 9 to 5. So I don't
Ooh.
know what the goal was for that. But I did notice though, because every now and then when they do their house visits or when they're doing their little montage, their houses aren't always impressive, but Jamie had a nice house.
Yes. I
It
mean,
was a nice house. And but also back in the old era, Jamie was a little older because they weren't pairing people like in their late 30s or anything until recently. And
mhm.
Jamie was 35. So that's kind of different from what we used to see back then. You were in your early 20s. I mean, Monet was 30, but yeah. So, Pastor Cal says that both of them, they paired both of them because they both have passion and they're going to have to learn to contain their passion to make it work. I'm like, that's a tall order to give
You
strangers.
know? Oh my gosh, especially two people who think they're right and who think that their quote unquote passion is their superpower, to have them contain it is not going to work.
Just the fact that the word contain is in there is a problem. Well, so Beth decides to tell her family that she's getting married at her 30th birthday party. And that was when I realized, because she was wearing like a shiny sequin like dress, and the whole time she was doing confessionals, she was doing a confessional in like a closet or bath or bedroom or
Yes.
something. So they pulled her aside from her quote unquote 30th birthday party where she thanks her daddy for his credit card for them to do this. And then she says, "Oh, I'm getting married." And then they have their dun 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 music. And back in the day, that's where the commercials probably went. And then they come back, and her dad was like, "Okay, congratulations. Like, you're 30 right now. There's nothing left for me to teach you. Everything I should have taught you should be at 10 by 10. So
Yeah.
anything you're gonna do, I'm like, you know what? That's actually good advice. Like, you're not gonna teach her anything right now. But he says, congratulations. And on the opposite spectrum, Jamie tells his dad and stepmom, like he said, "I'm going to go to the grocery store right now." Like it was so matter of factly the way he said it. Like it wasn't like a whole fanfare like it is now where the whole family's there and then they're like, "I'm getting married." And like, "What?
Right.
Why? Who?" Like, you guys know about the process. Like, what is
Right.
this?
You're on
So
TV. You signed forms. Let's be real.
Jamie's dad says, "How long have you been experimenting with drugs?"
I liked his dad. I thought his dad was just like that. He's just the definition of dad jokes. He just wanted to be funny in his own dad little way. I thought he was so sweet. I did like his dad a lot.
Um, so yeah, so they went that, and then they had the whole wedding thing. Beth picks out her dress, which we have talked about a little bit, but she says it's so her and it is sexy and she needs him to react. It's time for the wedding, and Jamie is quite overwhelmed, and he's like, "What have I done? What am I doing? Have I ever, did I think this through? Is this a good idea?" And then Beth, surprisingly, is also overwhelmed. I mean, I think it's like a production thing where both of them just happen to be. And as they're walking out of the door, I was trying to see if it was a Frankenbite, but her dad's was like, "Hopefully he doesn't have a small penis." And I'm like, "Y'all are close, aren't you?"
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I think I went out of order. I should have ended with them because that was how the episode ended, where she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so nervous," and her dad is like, "Well, you can still back out if you want to," and that's how they ended it. But I mean, we know they're gonna get married. We've only had one person back out, and we've never heard from them again. So
Right.
yeah, so that's how it ends for Beth and Jamie.
I have
Any
three
thoughts?
questions. I have three questions for you for my thoughts. What do you think about her relationship with her dad? Because at one point, her dad said, he can't be your best friend because I am.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about their relationship. So I'm curious to get your insight on her relationship with her dad.
I don't know. I'm in my let people live era, but I'm also still judgmental. It's not for me. Like I'm just it's too like it's nice that she has her dad, but I don't know how much of it is playing it up for TV. Maybe that's
Mm,
an angle that you sell, like, "Oh, I'm really, really close to my dad." And then the other thought I kept having was like, is their mom like, "Hello, I'm here."
yes, that's what I was.
Like,
That's why I was.
I'm
That's
your
why I
best
asked.
friend.
Right. Like,
So
also we have other kids. What's happening here? This is not our only child.
she's the baby. But I want to chalk it up to playing it up for TV, but also she is her dad's favorite.
All right. So my next question is, and this was I was getting Ryan and Brett fears because I saw that all of her bridesmaids were blonde, and she's got this very unnaturally red hair. And
Hmm.
so I'm thinking about, and you know this, and I don't know if it's a spoiler, but I just got real nervous when I saw, oh no, all of your bridesmaids are blonde. You don't look like anybody else. I don't know how Jamie's gonna take this. He seems like, ugh, maybe he is real specific about what he's looking for.
I do not recall his reaction to that. All I know is they have a tumultuous relationship. 1 minute up,
Yeah.
1 minute down, and some things come up, but I can't remember if it had anything to do with attraction or looks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell right away these two are going to be a problem. And it's going to be the kind where they're going to have sex right away and it's going to be super whatever for 10 minutes and then they're going to get on each other's nerves and it's going to be a back and forth. Like I sense that already cuz she is a lot. And I don't know if you need a different kind of guy, like somebody who's like, all right, I'm gonna let my lady be my lady and I'll sit back. So maybe like a Jamie and Doug, where Doug just kind of lets Jamie do her thing, and if she needs him, he's there. Otherwise, he he lets her be her. And I don't know if Jamie is going to be that kind of guy for Beth.
Do you have knowledge of the basic Caucasian sex phrase?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you're not that far off. So
Yes.
okay. Yes, I'm also looking forward to seeing their relationship and seeing how they lasted as long as they did. And I'm
No.
just it's very yeah, very interesting. Very interesting for that. And I tend to wonder, is it a if they were paired with other people, would it still be the same result because she is quote unquote a lot, or because he's very prickly and very just, stubborn in his
Yeah.
own way? Is it a matter of, are they incompatible, or are they trying to make things work, or is there something that they genuinely have with each other? Who knows? We'll never know. But yeah.
No, I think they just like having sex with each other and all the other stuff
Do they
that's around
basic
it.
Caucasian sex? Do they like having sex with each other? I don't know.
As of today, what I know today, and I know basic Caucasian sex comes up later, but today, like they were the two when sex came up. She brought it up with the girls on their bachelorette party, and I think he brought it up with the guys for their bachelor, whatever that sad little thing was. So I think they're both kind of sex positive, sex forward, and I think that will at least initially carry them a little ways.
Mm.
I don't know. It's
Okay, that
like a
brings us.
guess.
So that brings us to our final couple, which was Iris, who's 27, and Keith, who is 27. Just comes up and is like, "Hi, I'm Iris. I'm 27 years old and I'm a virgin." And I'm like, okay, we're not going to make this a personality. I have no issues with her being a virgin. It's just like, when certain people make certain things their
Yeah.
entire
Yep.
personality.
Yep.
And I've been a record, I've said it many times. I just don't think MAFS should have had a virgin on there. It's already a responsibility when people are not virgins, when it's like, are you gonna have sex with your husband? Is it a stranger? Is it not? Or whatever. And now it's with a stranger. And sometimes some men feel like it's a whole lot of responsibility to be someone's first, especially when you don't know how you feel and
Yep.
what that's gonna do. It's just a lot that I don't know why they made that choice. I still think like it was a mistake to match her.
I agree. And I think especially when this process is so accelerated, um, the things that you've got to get through quickly, and like sex for the first time is not one of those things you're going to get through quickly. But intimacy is a part of a relationship. So I don't know how that was going to work in this situation. I agree.
Yeah, and on TV. So
On
Iris
TV
says
too.
that she works with kids and she's a hopeless romantic. She's so bubbly with a lot of energy, but she's so pretty.
Yes.
She's so pretty. And she says, like, I just wanted to be on Married at First Sight. A lot of guys don't want to deal with it when they find out that I'm a virgin. So I just want to get this, get it matched and get matched to the right person. Like I mentioned earlier in the update, she got a house and she got a fiance, but she's not married yet. And it was confirmation because I think at the time I was saying I wasn't sure if she was a virgin due to religious reasons, but I think that's what I remember. And that's correct. She said, I'm a virgin due to religious reasons. So I don't know if that changed or maybe they moved into a house. Again, like I said, maybe she bought it herself. I don't know. She hasn't hard launched the fiance as of now.
Okay.
So I don't know if she bought it by herself, if they're still together, if they're, I don't know. But I'm just wondering if she moved in without getting married, or maybe she got married in court. I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
just speculating all of the things if things have changed in 5 years.
I'm
Um,
guessing with how hard she went in on the dress, and to your point about making the being a virgin her personality, her going so hard in the dress being white was a lot. And so I can't imagine if she's going to get married again, that she would want that whole show of it. So I'd be surprised if they just went to a justice of the peace and didn't have like a
peace.
full wedding.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out eventually. So Keith is 27 and he is a high school basketball coach and mentor. I think most people know Keith for his very brief stint with, I think it was Ari Lennox.
Oh,
And everyone was like, "Oh, she's dating this guy. He was from a reality show," because a lot of people don't watch MAFS and like from MAFS. And then before we could even wrap our heads around it, they were done. So yeah.
oh,
So
cool.
he said he wants friendship. Oh God, I hope I got the right person. I was Ari Lennox. If not, correct me, but I do think it is. So he said he wants friendship in his marriage, like his parents. And the experts are like, they both love helping people. And I found it interesting that Dr. Viviana said Iris has shared that she hasn't had sexual intercourse. I just, hasn't had sex would be okay unless
Mm,
we were getting into the minute details of it all. But just saying she hasn't had sexual intercourse was very strange to me. So
yeah.
it was important to match her with someone who was kind, patient, and understanding. And this is where sometimes I criticize the experts where you're concerned about one person. What about
Mm,
the other person? So you
mm,
want her to have a kind, patient understanding, but then you're putting this responsibility on somebody else. And how does that feel? And I wish they spoke more about it. And maybe they will moving forward because they have those one-on-one visits, and then when they have the sex challenge, just to say what they were thinking in terms of what are the possibilities of how he would handle finding out that she was a virgin.
yeah. And I would hope that even if they didn't see it, and maybe it wasn't during the matchmaking special, that they would ask, like, and maybe this is where they started asking some of those things more specifically after the season was, the same way, would you be open to somebody with kids? Would you be open to somebody of a different race? Would you be, you know what I mean? I feel like that's something that's important, as
Yeah.
important as all these other things. So even if we don't see it, I would hope that they asked him at some point if that would, because to your point, it's a huge responsibility to take that on for somebody that you don't have an invested long-term relationship with. It's a lot to take on for a stranger.
Yeah. Um her parents or her mom was so happy for her. She was just like, how did this will happen? I match her. Like, this is great. Like, I'm glad that she's doing it. And that's another thing that I've noticed. Generally, for this episode, everyone's parents was supportive. The most negative, and I use negative very loosely, was Keith's parents. The absolute shock on his dad's, because they were in a restaurant, and I think he was like, I don't know, buttering his bread or something about his bread, and he stopped mid
Hmm.
and was like, "What are you talking?" He said, "Is this a new millennial generational how you date? Like, what is happening?" And his mom, who I think is so pretty, was like, "You're gonna have to tell your
Yes.
grandparents. Like, your
Yeah.
grandparents are pastors and ministers, and how are they gonna feel about this?" And at some point, she started crying, and I'm like, "All right, relax. He's just taking a chance on getting married." But I think maybe this is me just speculating. The issue is if it doesn't work out, then you have to get a divorce.
Uh,
So maybe that's because I don't know, when they get all upset and things, I'm like, what is going to happen? Like, they're not going to get murdered or something. All that's going to happen is it'll be a failed relationship. You can survive that. But, these parents take it so hard.
well, and that was one of the things that the experts said that brought them together was that they both had really good, healthy family support systems. But then
Mhm.
we find out that Iris's dad didn't know anything about the process, and like, and then apparently Keith's family didn't really know the process. To your point, where they were shocked at
I
lunch,
think
and
they
then
knew they didn't think he'll get picked. No, they're hoping he
okay,
didn't get picked because there's cameras in front of them.
yeah. And I'm wondering about the concern too for the deacon and the minister, his grandparents, is the concern not just the divorce, but also like what are we as pillars of our religious community, what are we saying when we've told people to do X, Y, and Z, but our grandson is doing none of those things from for what they know so far. So maybe that was a thing too about, ooh, we're leaders in our community, and now this is a thing that looks hyper what am I hypocrisy, my brain is fried. uh
Hypocritical.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's true because I'm remembering the most recent season of The Bachelor, and one of the finalists during the hometown visits, her family decided not to come on because her dad was a minister and was like, why would we go on a show that doesn't represent our values? And then to them,
Right.
I guess this doesn't represent the values of getting married to someone. It seems, is salacious the word,
I
where
think
you're just
so.
like you're going
Yeah.
on TV to go marry
Yeah.
someone who you've
Right.
never known. Why are you doing that? So,
Yeah.
and then it's just a different generation also. So,
Yes.
I've always said that, like, listen, your kids will put you through the ringer. So if my kid ever came to me and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this," like, I'm just gonna assume that, like what Beth's dad said, I've already taught you everything. If you're gonna do that, and I'm gonna assume that if you're making this choice, you have thought about it. I'm not saying anything that you haven't thought about. You've thought about it and you've decided to make this choice. The best thing to do in this case is support. It's not bringing any harm. Well, Paige's parents might differ, but
All right.
it's not bringing it in the you know when you think about it, it's statistically you're not going to encounter any harm. The worst that will happen is heartbreak or humiliation, I guess, but you get over it and you'll be okay and you'll be there to support them. So easier said than done, but it's just easier to me than to be
Yeah.
negative. But the mom just cried. It wasn't like she yelled or said anything
No,
terrible, and she just
and
said,
they're lovely parents. They were just like, "You're gonna talk to your grandparents about this."
yeah.
Like,
I
and
don't
then
know if they thought. Oh, go
go ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say, and Grandma Sarah came in with her wig, and she was like, "Yeah, whatever. I don't support. I support you. This is not the way I would want it to be done. I don't understand it, but I trust you, and here we go." And that's really all you can ask of your grandparents that you love and respect their decision.
Yeah,
So I think everybody handled it really well.
yeah, and they flew down, and that's why I said I use it loosely. Like they were the most negative, but honestly, at the end of the day, it was best case scenario,
Right.
for them. When they were dress shopping, like you've mentioned that earlier, Iris just really has this virginity as a personality
Mm-mm.
because she's like, I want it white, white. I don't want ivory. I want it white, white. And I think she said, walking down the aisle in your purest form, you have to have it. Like, I think she's one of those people who feels like you can be trash everywhere else, but as long as you're still a virgin, you're the bestest angel on earth. And she's like, I'm Miss Purity. I just want the dress to be as white as can be. And I'm like, wow, this is
Yeah. Which is
this is gonna
fine
be something.
if that's what she wants for herself and that's what it symbolizes to herself. I'm cool. Do you, sis? But what lost me is where she kept saying, "Well, he's going to see how white it is and know my purity, and he's going to know how he's not paying attention to your color of your dress. You had that peekaboo booby thing going on. He gonna be looking there. He's not going, ooh, her dress is so white. I bet she's a virgin." So that piece, that wearing your virginity as a badge of honor that everybody else is supposed to recognize, was too far.
Yeah. I mean, she's doing well for herself. She's in a few Netflix shows. She's like a fashion influencer and things, so you know, she's doing well. Okay, so that was it for the episode, but a little bit of stuff on the when the brides first meet and the grooms first meet. Bring back real bachelorette parties. Stop throwing them in barns with two-star rating strippers and their friends and nothing happening. I don't even know what happened that stopped this. This was a real bachelorette party. We had strippers in their skivvies. We had people gyrating on people. We had people being carried. Amber was having the time of her life.
Yep.
Iris was so uncomfortable. She's just like, there are other ways to have fun, like gardening. They all met up in white. Liz comes in red.
Of course.
And they're all talking about sex in the first night. And Deanna's like, nope, I'm not doing that. I said Liz.
Yes,
I've
you
called
did.
her Liz, Elizabeth, and Beth, but I meant Beth, guys. And then Beth was just like, listen, I'm happy for her, whatever she wants to do, but I'm open sexually, whatever happens, I'm there for it and I'll do it. The grooms meet. Of course, they have to be like the immature boys' locker room, like, oh, sex on the first night. What's that gonna happen? And all that. And then there's like, I think Greg was like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to build like a connection. And they ask Jamie. Jamie is like, yeah, I'm on the same page, whatever happens. And I think Matt was like, but what do you really want though? And then they start laughing and they're all open to it. At some point, they're playing poker or blackjack, and they have a dealer who is all
Oh,
tits out.
Tits McGee for
And like
sure.
I said, bring back the real bachelorette parties. I don't know what is the last one. I think it was like a bowling alley. So stop it, guys. Maths, come back.
Yeah, and
And
their friends were in another room. Their friends weren't even involved, and so it was just weird. It was super weird.
and Jamie was like, "Oh, our dealer looks really nice, and I'm wondering if she's single." But no, I'm getting married tomorrow, and I'm like, red flag,
Exactly. I was like,
red
and I
flag.
think maybe that's why I was like, I don't know how I feel about this guy. Like, it's one thing to joke about it, but it's another thing to, this is going to be documented for your future wife to see, bro.
But that's
Oh.
the thing is you can never use that to judge because this went under the radar, but I always remember it is Vinny from Brianna and Vincent did the same thing at the Atlanta season. He went up to a stripper, was chatting up a stripper, and was like, "You look good. If she looks as good as you, I'll be happy." And everything. And that just they're happy and everything now, but that could have been seen as red flag behavior. But here we are, just still together with two kids.
That's true. Well,
So
I was listening to a podcast today with Drew Afwalo, and she was talking about men and how they don't like kind of talk and communicate with each other, and it just it was so fitting because that opening scene where all the four guys were sitting in that shop and just crickets, they had nothing to say to each other, like until they started talking about sex. They were
yeah.
just how tall are you? I thought I was tall. Oh, but you're taller than me. I'm gonna stand. Like, they had nothing to talk about. You guys are in this very specific experience and you have nothing to talk about than sex. Oh, I'm so sad for the women in your lives.
Oh, that is another difference. Let me say this that the new era has over the old era, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but now the friendships are important because I don't know if the older seasons if anyone like hangs out or we're buddies or we're best friends, but the new era people, I think because they're not focused on love and all that, they are friends for
Yeah.
life, best
No.
friends forever for them. So, well, did you have anything else to add?
No, I mean, I feel like this is going to go in so many different topsy turvy different directions that I'm not expecting. I'm looking forward to see what's happening next.
Okay.
Except with Matt. Oof.
Well, can you share with people where they can find you, Jen?
Of course, I am traveling internationally all over the world right now. We're in Thailand. So if you want to see what we're doing, we are at JNS dot adventures. So you can find us on YouTube and Instagram.
Okay, guys, and you know where to find me. It is on AltaCall MAFS, ALTARCALL MAFS, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. And please give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And we will be posting this episodes on Fridays. So join us in the rewatch and send any questions, comments that you may have. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.